Hello guys, my name is Rajat. Welcome back to my channel VFX World. First of all, we have a very special guest with us. His name is MARCO PAOLINI and he is a great man. Today is an honor to do a podcast with him. So basically he is background from Silhouette and he's a product designer and also a very good part from SilhouetteFX. So today we have him and we will talk more in detailed way, but I wish that he will saying from himself that whatever he do, what is exactly working and not, everything from him. So Marco, it's completely up to you. Now please tell us, for our Indian viewers who really love to use SilhouetteFX software, and I will tell about more details. So just introduce yourself.
Sure. Again, my name is Marco Paolini. I'm the product designer and manager of SilhouetteFX, Silhouette, the product for Borisfx. And really my experience came from doing a number of different jobs. I started off as a cameraman, as a film cameraman, and then a video cameraman. Did lighting, moved into editing. So when I started editing, we were editing with 1-inch videotape, reel to reel. And, back then, visual effects were done with electronic switchers, like Grass Valley switchers, and effects devices, like ADOs. And, the whole concept of matting and all that was quite different, because it was all tape based and the mats had to be on tape or they came from a camera. So, my experience was very much hands-on editing, which then branched into doing more and more graphics effects type work as paint boxes became available. That was kind of like the, if your facility had a paint box, you could actually do some of the things that we do now. And at a certain point, I took a job with Avid Technology. I was a trainer to train other editors on how to use the editing software at Avid, which led me to Matador and Illusion, which were products that were purchased by Avid from a company in England called Parallax. And that's really kind of was my kind of big introduction into visual effects. That was kind of in the mid-90s. And I became a product designer for a short period with Avid, and then I took a job as a visual effects artist. So, worked at a facility where we did everything from roto, wire removal, compositing, 3D. We had film scanning, film scanners and film recorders, and just like a lot of facilities, we took whatever work we could get. Some of it was overflow, from other facilities. Whether it was like taking a whole set of shots from Planet of the Apes to do all the wire removal, really difficult wire removal, because normally facilities try and get rid of the shots that are a pain in the neck.
Exactly.
But it gave me a chance to really have a good, well-rounded background in all the different parts of the visual effects process. I mean, I know nowadays, so many of the facilities are set up like a factory, like you roto, you paint, you composite, you do 3D.
Different departments.
Different departments. And because we were a smaller facility of about 10, 12 people, we had to do a bunch of different tasks. And that led to, we had custom tools at our facilities that we subcontracted out for software that we used. And at a certain point we said, it would be interesting to sell some of the software and techniques that we use to everybody else. And so we had a company called Digital Film Tools that did plugins. And we started with that. And at a certain point we felt, based on, the products that were out there wasn't a whole lot of roto and paint products that were being actively developed there in kind of like the early 2000s. So, whatever had been available was no longer used, or it was bought up and killed by whatever company that bought it. So we decided to make our own roto tool, which was Silhouette. And
so that way the Silhouette came.
Yeah, that's where Silhouette came, and that was like in like say 2003, 2000. We started on it like 2003, but 2004, 2005 is when we came out with the first versions. And we went to SIGGRAPH and we got really good reception, and companies who purchased it and said, if you can add XYZ to it, we can use it on our next movie. So, because we were small, we were able to like quickly, adapt, make changes, add features. So we started with Roto, then it went to Paint. We added more keying. It was always, a modular
Exactly.
node-based system.
Exactly.
Even though you couldn't change the order of the nodes. There was always a roto, a paint, a keyer, morphing.
Exactly.
We added that as we went, and then really kind of the big change came with Silhouette version 6, where we exposed those nodes and allowed the artist to add as many nodes or as few nodes as they want in whatever order they wanted. And the relationship between Silhouette and Digital Film Tools was such that Digital Film Tools had a bunch of compositing plugins, effects-based plugins that we could then just use in Silhouette. So it immediately gave us a lot of nodes to work with right off the bat. And, in 2019, Borisfx acquired both Silhouette and Digital Film Tools. And, we're now part of that company.
Exactly.
And have enjoyed a lot of really good synergy with the other teams, Sapphire team, with the Mocha team, especially, getting really good integration there.
Exactly. So just first of all, I just want to know how are you about this COVID situation and all?
Well, it's been very interesting, because we've, the company has shifted to remote working. For Borisfx, there was a core amount of people in the Boston offices in Massachusetts, and but then there was also already a number of workers who were remote, like myself and some of the other teams in the UK and in various places. So, but it was a pretty big shift. All the normal, engineering meetings and marketing meetings, all conducted. We use Google Meet. All virtually. So that was a kind of a big change, especially for, trade shows, doing virtual trade shows and coming up with, bi-weekly live streams to, demonstrate the software and show new features. So that's all been pretty new. And, just like all the other countries around the world, dealing with lockdowns and, fortunately for us, we're, kind of seeing light at the end of the tunnel here with vaccines. So, I think everybody's excited to look forward.
Exactly. Exactly. So I got right now a bunch of questions in my mind. So my first question is like on that time when you started SilhouetteFX for the very first time, that time also Adobe After Effects have their own rotoscoping tools. Like in CS3 version, I remember they have still that paint tool. So it was like a comparison or a competition kind of thing with both the software, because currently also few subscribers, my followers from India, they told me, sir, if you can do on After Effects by using roto brush tool as a roto, then why should you learn that entire software for specifically a rotoscoping? I told their answers, but I want to make an answer from you so that they can really understand that why Silhouette and why After Effects.
They're really different tools for different purposes. The roto brush does give a good result, but it doesn't give you an editable shape. And you can generate shapes that have that have lots of keyframes and lots of points on the shape, but it's not, you can't really fine tune it like you can with manual splines. The whole idea of determining background, foreground, and having the system look ahead and figure out the matte, that's great for work that's not quite as exacting. I can tell you that the customers that we deal with who are doing visual effects work, they will often come up with an issue where they'll say, this is really good, but it's a 16th of a pixel off. And that's the kind of tolerances and accuracy that's needed. And it really makes the difference between a shot not looking good and being believable, or not even noticing that a visual effect has been applied to it. So I think roto brush is great. Television work, stuff that's not quite as exacting, that's not requiring maybe color correction, where it doesn't require is hair detail that's only a pixel wide. Those applications are great. It's fast, or somewhat fast, depending on how much you fuss with it. It's always, you can always get a result very quickly that's 90% there. It's always that last 10%, right?
We need 100% output.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's that's kind of the same issue, separate subject with AI. You get close quickly, but there's a lot of time getting that last 10-15% to get it to where you need it to be.
Exactly. I just want to share with you my experience, because I don't know you know me or not. Like, I am also a senior rotoscoping artist. I was also working for a MNC. Obviously, I can't tell their names. So when I was working, when I'm working on production on the rotoscoping shots, like critical shot, like hard motion blur shot, or like a hair detail shot, most of the time our main focus is like to grab that proper alpha. So our focus is like we have to maintain that outer pixel, like outer edge, hard edge should be on the proper exact edge. So if you really use that roto brush tool and all, so the output will not come with like that 100%, as you mentioned. Like, we're getting like 90%, but we are not getting that 100%, and in fact the hair details will not getting properly. So that is also I faced. Then I realized that yes, why we don't need to use After Effects, and why SilhouetteFX is a very good software to create this kind of like good alpha. Basically we are trying to get the alpha for the comp. So the whatever we have to use, we need a proper alpha by using keying and all. So it's a really great tool, Silhouette, that give us all the opportunities to get that alpha. So thank you so very much for that.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. And we're always surprised by the footage that sometimes our customers send to us, where you have a moving camera, moving actor against a moving background.
Exactly. Parallax kind of thing.
And none of those automatic, even tracking doesn't work on those type of shots.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it,
In fact, on that kind of shot, we are getting like kind of stop kind of motions. So we have to swap those shapes to match the exact motion blurs. It will not getting on the After Effects. So these are the points.
No, and I don't think the majority of people realize the kind of detailed, just laborious work that it takes for some of those shots. I mean, even if you put in your time, the result is not always good, because you may not have made good choices along the way, because at the end of the day, if the edge is going like this, it's no good.
Yeah. I understand. It's called like wobbling, jittering, the blur is not matching, many things will come in front of you. That's a very good. And in fact, what in India, like many followers told me, sir, the rotoscoping is a very, very boring part, which takes a lot of time and all. But I said that the rotoscoping is a path, like a very first step to enter the visual effects industry. But they said, no, I want to become a compositor, I want to make a prep artist. But they are not decided that why I am telling them to start with a roto. So I just want to tell from you that please tell them that why roto is important, what is exactly roto, and I think I can tell you what I'm trying to tell.
No, and I think that too. I think the most important attribute a potential artist can have is detail oriented. Notice every detail, and for me, we had to do all those tasks. Even though I was compositor, I didn't always have somebody to roto and paint for me. So first thing, I had to paint out film dirt right off the bat, clean the plate, degrain, start my comp. I couldn't wait for somebody. So certain things need to be rotoed that you may not have planned to be rotoed anyway.
Exactly.
So I'd also say though too for myself, I don't know about you, but when I'm rotoscoping or painting, involved shot, I mean, for me, it's like a meditation. It's you kind of get into that zone, and then all of a sudden you realize it's been hours. So although it's laborious and although it's tedious, it's actually fairly, I think, enjoyable work, because I think there is always a solution with
Exactly.
roto and paint. It's just how long does it take you to get there? Where compositing, there's so many different ways to achieve what you want, and compositing is, I think, falls within that, the same kind of situation as roto and paint, where it's very enjoyable. Time passes quickly. But yeah, I think it's like anything. Even if I go back to like my days as an editor, you start out as an assistant editor or a tape operator, or somebody who like fed the tapes in the machine. You're learning all those foundational pieces that you need to really know about later. Is at a certain point, a compositor may become a visual effects supervisor. They need to know what does it take to roto? How long does it take to do that shot? What's the best course of action? Is it roto, paint? Is it blue screen? So having all those foundational skills are super important. And I wouldn't look at roto and paint as the bad place to be, but more as a stepping stone to where you want to go.
Exactly. Nice. Really, really like inspiring. So I have one more question. Like inside of Silhouette, we have a Mocha and we have a Mocha software differently. But few guys told me, not few, most of guys told me, sir, why we can't launch Mocha from Silhouette? So is there any update in future will come, like in After Effects we can launch Mocha? It will directly go to the Mocha software, but we have a very limited, like 50 or 70% controls have Mocha inside of Silhouette. But when you jump into Mocha, we have bunch of others, like detailed modules to do like detailed tracks and all. So is there any update will come in future so that we can directly launch Mocha from there? It will become like a version of plugins and all. Anything?
Yeah. I mean, the good news is, starting with Silhouette 2020, the Mocha Pro OFX plugin works directly within Silhouette.
Oh, nice.
So you apply Mocha Pro as a node. Mm-hmm. You launch the interface just like you do in After Effects or a Nuke.
Okay.
Opens the full Mocha Pro interface, and you have all the modules, the remove module, megaplate module, tracking, stabilize. You have all of that now. And the great thing is that what you were referring to, the kind of the limited Mocha controls directly integrated into Silhouette. We used to, when we weren't part of Boris, we sold that as an option. So even though it was integrated into Silhouette, you still had to pay a little extra money for it. Once 2020 came out, the limited or integrated version of Mocha, or non-interface version of Mocha, was included at no charge. And then the Mocha Pro plugin was as an optional add-on, and there's really good bundle pricing so that you can get Silhouette and Mocha Pro. And there's some really nice integration that we've added and are working on additional integration. Right now, when you export, if you want to save a track, instead of saving a track or a shape from Mocha, you can just copy it to the clipboard and then come back in Silhouette and paste it right into a roto or a tracker node. And the data just comes straight across.
Wow.
Without having to, I mean, it's just, it's slightly easier than saving the file and loading the file, but it's more of a direct connect pipeline. And, we're looking at doing more of that with Mocha as well.
Wow, yeah, it's like a big news for all of us that in future Silhouette will come with more amazing updates, so that like us artists will, whenever we start working on Silhouette, it will become more easier and also the time consuming. So is there any good updates for the specifically hair roto it will come in future, so that when we do this, that kind of like detailed hair shot, it will become more easier for our artists? Is there any updates? You guys are already thinking about that?
Not specifically. I mean, I guess we always encourage artists to give us feedback, what they like, what they don't like. I think unfortunately for hair, it's always going to be somewhat tedious just because of its motion, of its thinness, and the motion blur. We do have some improvements to, I don't know if you've messed with the Power Mat module, but that module is, I don't want to say it's like Roto Brush because it's kind of a completely different method, but based on what you're saying is a foreground and a background shape, it figures out everything in between and does an extraction. That works pretty well right now, but it relies on two different shapes. So what we're going to end up doing is use the feathering ability. So in other words, by drawing an inner shape and then dragging the feather to go beyond where the hair is, it will automatically use the one shape to determine foreground, background, and unknown, and give you nice hair detail in that area, but it would be a mat. It would not be a shape. So depending on what your requirements are, if you're rendering mats anyway and you don't care about the shapes, then that's a good solution where you can roto wherever you need to, but just like for the head portion, that will make that process much quicker. But as far as drawing open splines, I can't off the top of my head think of a good way of making that any better.
Okay, nice. So is there any future updates for Mocha Pro? Like, I really love that power mesh concept. It's really amazing. First of all, I thought that I don't know you know about like the lockdown kind of thing that called as a script. Yep. So first of all, I thought that you guys merge with lockdown that script. Then I saw that no, this is completely different, and in fact, this is more good than that script. So which kind of updates will come later for that power mesh, and is that really work for production purpose tracking methods? Like if you do some critical like what you can say like cloth rotos and all, the power mesh track can help those kind of difficult shots to track.
They can. The mesh though, for power mesh, can give you roto output. You can kind of use it for semi-automatic rotoscoping. The issue, though, is that that roto will have keyframes, a lot of keyframes and a lot of points.
Auto keyframes, or you have to give keyframes?
Yeah, but for power mesh generated roto, there's going to be keyframes on every frame when you export it.
Okay.
Which can be an issue if you need to edit it a lot. Oh. Because the power mesh requires like a kind of a third layer of transformation on top of, like, you've got tracking, shape, and then power mesh. So there's like those three levels. Well, okay. Normally, like for instance, Nuke can handle shape and layer.
Layer, yes.
Separate keyframes, but that third level causes keyframes to be on every frame. Now, as far as Silhouette is concerned, we hope to have more integration with the power mesh data directly in Silhouette, so that we don't rely necessarily on Mocha to do the rendering. So for instance, ideally we would be able to automatically get the mesh data from Mocha so that we can apply that to a clone source when painting. Okay. So there's work going on in those areas. I mean, as far as Silhouette is concerned, to have kind of more native integration of that directly in Silhouette. Okay. And the Mocha team is currently preparing 2021.5 update, which I think is going to be soon, and we'll have additional enhancements and improvements to that module, the Power Mesh module.
Okay. So is there any future updates will come for like different platforms?
You mean as far as I mean, currently, Silhouette is a plugin as well, right? For After Effects, for OFX hosts. So After Effects in Premiere Pro, Flame, Vegas, Nuke, um, Fusion, Resolve. And there's always chances of adding other hosts like Avid and Final Cut Pro and other OFX hosts.
Okay.
So
Nice. So we got a lot of content from you, and I think this informations are really important for all our Indian artists specifically, and those who guys really want to join in like visual effects industry via this rotoscoping and all. So I hope you also enjoyed, and I'm done from my side. If you really want to tell anything for our Indian viewers or about my channel, you just have free to tell.
no, I guess I just would add that we have a community forum at Borisfx for all the products, including Silhouette.
Okay.
It's a great place to trade ideas, make comments, feature requests, complain about things. That's the place to do it. So under the support tab, there's a community section, and that opens up the forums. I'd encourage all your listeners to go there and engage. I'm on there, our engineers are on there, other artists are on there. So sometimes it's like, I've got this shot and I need to do this. How would you do it? There's a lot of good interchange back and forth, and a lot of good sharing.
Okay, very very nice. And guys, his link, his Instagram ID, everything, whatever you want to use, all links are in description box below. But please don't DMs him like many times, because he is a very busy person. And right now in India it's 11 p.m. So you know that how much busy he is. So it's a very good conversation with you, Marco. And I believe that in future you will stay like healthy, because this is our COVID situation. You know what I'm trying to say. So please
Yeah,
be
you
healthy.
too.
Yeah, thank you so very much, and thank you for joining this podcast with VFX World channel. And make sure you have to guys follow us on our social media handles and subscribe to our channel, and you have to check out Borisfx site for more amazing updates, because in future Borisfx will come up with some massive things, and that will be a surprise. So see you soon with some more amazing content. Thank you, Marco, for joining this podcast.
Thank you.
Good night from India, and